Hi everyone. One of your classmates pointed out that apparently Teams doesn't save the whiteboard um, when it's recording. So the wonderful little diagrams that I drew you were not saved. So just in case anyone wanted to refer back to them, I'm just recording a short little video here to kind of go over the same thing that I did in class. So for the essentially all we're talking about here is the Johnson-Newman values. And if you recall from lab, that's the point at which the relationship between x and y becomes significant. And it's based on the level of the moderator, or W. So you can see I have just a little graph here because, again, I like graphs. And we have on the y-axis the significance. So I have a line here for below this, it's not significant. Above this, it is. Yeah, we're just going to say above this, it's significant. Below this, it isn't. Okay, just bear with me. Let me actually just add a little thing. Say non-significant down here, and significant up here. Okay, so when we're thinking about these Johnson-Newman values, essentially, it can be kind of confusing sometimes. So what we found in our lab, the value where the significance changed was something around -18. So that's 18 units below the mean of W. So what that looked like, if I was to draw it out, would be something like this. I don't like that color. Let's make it, that's better, nice purple. So here, this value, this point right here, is this Johnson-Newman value, -18. So when the moderator is less than that, anything below -18, there is no significant relationship between x and y. X does not have a significant effect on y. But at values above this point, it does have a significant relationship. So again, our example from lab was that population density. So at population densities above -18, below the mean, attractiveness led to more souls harvested, but it didn't below the mean. Now, I talked in the lab about how, this might not be the only relationship that we see. So this is just one example. Instead, we could see maybe it's +18, and maybe it looks something like this. So this would be the point instead. So at low values of the moderator, it's significant. And then at high, it's not significant. Now, I'm using above and below the mean here, but remember that it's possible as well that we see something like this. So here, the Johnson-Newman value would still be maybe, let's say, -18 again, so it's pretty low. So it's only significant for very low points. So whether this value is above or below the mean doesn't matter for what direction this looks like. I realized that I was doing that, so yeah, just want to remember it. Essentially, all it's telling us is where is the point where the relationship between x and y becomes significant, at what level of the moderator. Now, so far, we've just worked with one value. There's only one region where the significance crosses this p = 0.5 line. But that's it. We could have more. So let's put negative 18, negative 19, negative, and 18. So maybe it, so that means it's crossing here and here. Don't mind my beautiful drawing. And this could look like two things. So it could look something like this, where at low values it's significant, at high values it's significant, but at moderate values it's not. So if this is what we had found for our example in the lab, I would have interpreted it by saying that at very low population densities, below 18 units below the mean, that higher attractiveness leads to more souls harvested. And at high population densities, above 18, above the mean, then attractiveness also leads to more souls harvested, but that there's no relationship between attractiveness and souls harvested at moderate levels of population density. So that's one of the ways it could look. Essentially here, everything, beautiful, I'm so good at everything from this level of W and these levels of W are significant, right? The relationship, rather, between X and Y is significant. Now, remember that this is just one of the two ways that it could look if we have two Johnson-Newman values. Could also look maybe something like this. So here, again, it's the same cutoff, so we draw it down to this value. So here, this is saying at low values of the moderator, there's no significant relationship. At very high values of the moderator, there's no significant relationship. But at that intermediate values, there is a relationship. So here, there would be a relationship between X and Y only in this area for these values, these levels of W. So how I might interpret this one would be to say that at like between negative 18 and 18 units, plus or minus 18 units around the mean of population density, there is attractiveness has an impact on the number of souls vampire harvests. You can see that the strength of this relationship, significance isn't the same as effect size, but it can sometimes, it tells us something, at least about effect size. This point, this is probably a stronger relationship than it is down at these levels. But this doesn't actually tell us about what the relationship is between X and Y. It just tells us at what levels of W is this relationship significant. So hopefully that makes sense. That was just about 10 minutes of me rambling when I told you it would be short because, well, if you haven't realized by now, I'm not very good at making things short. But hopefully if you had any questions about it, that you feel confident. Okay, I'll see you all on Monday.